She was born yesterday at 11:55 a.m. in the country where she was born. So this will not give you more details about the location. She's fine. We call her Eve between us. You knew that, of course. Some suggested it, and I thought it was a good idea, actually. You won't have the right name. And, for a long time, I thought that this press conference will be with the baby, the parents, the scientists, everybody surrounding me, and having pleasure announcing it. I'm alone. And there is a reason to that, is that it hasn't been easy to face the world with this announcement. And we have been discussing with the parents the last 3 months how we would handle today. And they decided not to show up yet. They will. I hope they will. And I wish them well. We started really to work with human eggs in January of this year. So it took us 3 months to finalize, and this is very short, and that's why I said, is it luck or is it hard work? I do believe it's hard work. But we had really good success very quickly and refined the technique for human eggs until spring, where we started to have implantation. We had 10 implantations, and 5 of them during the first 3 weeks were terminated spontaneously.
That is a clip from an interview back in 2002 from the director of a company called Clonaid, announcing that they had successfully cloned the first human, and her name was Eve. Clonaid is a Canadian-based company, but they're based on a company in the Bahamas. Kind of just seems secretive to me. They're also based off of a UFO type religion called realism, but nonetheless, this is their claim, and it sparked a lot of backlash in the early 2000s. And apparently Eve is still alive and living in Israel. They have been hiding her so that people can't study her. Apparently it is one of 14 human beings that have actually been cloned since 2002. So we literally have 20-some-year-old people walking around that are clones of other people. I know it's big in the conspiracy theory things. People talk about clones all the time, but this is actual confirmation. Apparently back in 2002, this sparked a year-long pretty big debate on ethics. I was a kid back then. I was only in 10th grade, so news didn't matter to me. And the adults in my life weren't focusing on this because, again, this was 2002. It was right after 9/11, right before we invaded Iraq. There was so much going on. We had the Patriot Act literally taking our freedoms away. And then this story comes out, and I just think it's wild to learn that this seems like it's actually true. There are people that say it's not, and there's people that say that this is a hoax because you can't find pictures of these cloned people. Maybe if we dig a little deeper, we'll actually find it. I don't know. They say Eve is living in Israel, and that doesn't surprise me one bit, actually. I'm pretty sure how they clone, from what it seems like from their website, which is still up and running, which is also weird. They kind of make it look like it's from the 1990s. Their website, it's all like super old school. Like my website looks 10 times better than this, but anyway, someone's still paying for this website. It's still up and running. You can contact these people if you want. Enter your name, email address, and talk to them, and somebody might get back to you about cloning yourself. Apparently it costs like $200,000. I'm sure there are plenty of rich, wealthy people that are on board with this and probably have been on board with this for a long time, and we're just not really aware of it because we're just talking about, who's white and black and red and blue and all the other bullshit, trivial, divisive tactics that they have us under, trying to cause us a race war in a country that isn't racist at all. We've literally been breeding with each other for generations now, and I'm pretty sure we're past the racism here, but they'll keep us going on that while they do weird things like this. But it makes me think, can a clone have a soul? I want to say no, just because when I think about myself, like if there was a clone of myself, I feel like I'd be looking at like my body, but they would have dead eyes looking at me. I feel like in order to get a soul, it needs to be like, like a natural natural birth, but I'm pretty sure that this is they clone an embryo and they put it into a surrogate mother, and it is birthed after 9 months. So I guess it technically can have a soul, but I've just been thinking about that since somebody brought this whole Clonaid thing to my attention, and I've been looking it up for the last week, and I'm just like, so it's real? Like that's wild. And I know they cloned Dolly the sheep back in 1996, so this stuff has been going on for so long. But from all the news that I've looked up, again, this is 2002. This is 21 years ago. All the main news outlets, they were reporting on this as actually happened. Again, major debate over all this, but I don't believe it had anything to do with transferring memories or consciousness or anything like that. Obviously, it's hard to do. They have more failures than they do success. And who knows if that number that I saw of 14 cloned human beings is real. Maybe it's more than that. Maybe it's less. I don't know. Why wouldn't it be real? I mean, we've got Elon Musk who wants to transfer consciousness into a computer, so why couldn't they clone somebody, inject it with a bunch of mRNA technology, and pretty much have their own walking, talking software program that they grew in a petri dish? Why couldn't that happen? Or let's just take the less sinister approach and they actually cloned a person who has its own free thoughts and free will. A rapper came out a few years ago claiming that he was a clone from the company Clonaid. The rapper's name was Kid Buu. Honestly, I wouldn't even look into it, but when you do look up Clonaid, you're going to see so much of this shoved in your face. It was a hoax. It wasn't real. The dude had a couple good interviews where he seemed plausible, but he got caught lying. Turns out it wasn't a legitimate thing. Of course, that's what you will see when you look it up. So just, again, take that with a grain of salt. Just understand that when you go to look things up, you're going to get shown information to discourage you from continuing to look it up. But just look it up. And I'm sure that once I share this on social media and it starts getting a few views, I'll get hit with the partly false information, and then they'll link some article that has absolutely nothing to do with anything that I'm talking about. That's how things work in propaganda world. Here's their website. Here's their products. Here's their services. This is what they do. But go ahead and call it a conspiracy theory because it will shatter the tiny little bubble of comfortability that you live in. Here, you know what? Maybe I will contact them myself. Enter name, email address, message subject, looking for clone. I really miss my grandmother. Can I dig her up and clone her? Question mark. Consent to having this website store my submitted information so they can respond. Yo, look, I need to make sure that this is gonna happen, okay? I miss her. I'm doing this for science. Enter code. I need a code? I don't have a code. This is probably the code that you can only get when you're on Epstein's Island. Look, we're gonna do this. We're gonna figure this out. Clonaid. It's better than Kool-Aid. Follow for part 2 where I dig up my grandmother and clone her.
About harm that should be done to a child or to a surrogate mother or to a mother who would carry a cloned child. Considering what I've been hearing and that my team have been producing in the lab, I do not have any concern. I'm a responsible person, and I feel very comfortable with those results and with the knowledge that we have accumulated, for the last 22 years, but also very recently on this technology. My main concern is actually in the health of our scientific community. I think we shouldn't be accomplice of public emotions or public fears. We should, on the contrary, fight for such research to be done in the best places. I'm not saying that I'm the best, but I'm saying that I'm doing it. I'm doing it in a very responsible manner, in a very conscious way. And I wish that this research could be open to the large public and because there are hundreds of scientists who would be willing to do it and are not allowed to say it in this community because they will lose their grant, their reputation, and everything. That's what happened to me. Another concern is certainly the arrogance that we may have to tell people what they should do with their own genes. I think I'm going back to the The demand is huge. The demand is there, and this will be done. And I hope it's done properly in a very safely way. I'm doing it, and I hope that I can publish that very soon and share that with you all. This is all.